Hi everybody, welcome to our question and answer session with Martha Gabler, who's the author of Chaos to Calm, and Teresa McKeon, who's a TAGteach co-founder, and me, Joan Orr, also a TAGteach co-founder. So we have a bunch of questions today that people have emailed in, and we have some people on the call that have some questions, so we will let Martha answer the questions, and if Teresa and I have anything to add, we'll just jump in. So I'm just going to put up a whiteboard. Okay, so here's our first question. This is a question we get quite frequently. And the question is, do I have to keep tagging and treating forever?
Okay, this is Martha Gabler, and I'll answer that question. And it's a question that comes up very often because we advise people that when you reinforce a child with a tag point, when the child achieves a tag point and you tag, then you are supposed to give the child something to his liking, a candy or a sticker or a token or something that will reinforce him. And many people fear that they'll have to keep this up forever, and that is actually not the case at all. The reason that we tag and provide a reinforcer, and the reason that we have to do that every time is in the early stages when you're teaching a child and you're building a behavior, you have to tag and reinforce every time the child performs it. There's a technical term for that, and it's called continuous schedule of reinforcement. So basically, you reinforce the child every time in the early stages. Now, as the child gains confidence and performs the skill more often and performs it at a higher level, over time you cut back on your reinforcement until you reinforce only every once in a while. And that is actually the best way to keep a behavior going. On rare occasions, you just give a reinforcer for that behavior, and in the meantime, you'll be starting on another behavior and using continuous reinforcement to build a new behavior. So you have a chain of things going on with that. But no, you do not need to keep reinforcing all the time.
Do you want to show a little video?
Okay, sure, let's do that.
Do you want to show a little video of, this will be a continuous reinforcement video. This is a little boy with autism learning to swing.
Okay, new tag point. Tag point is lean back. While you're swinging forwards, tag point is straight legs.
Why don't you push him so he can get more forward? And you tag later.
Almost didn't click because his legs were straight. Okay, after touching my hand with your feet, tag point is lean forward. After touching my hand with your feet, tag point is lean forward.
All right, Jen, thank you for showing that video. And I believe you told us that after Lear received the tags for swinging his feet properly, he didn't have to have them again. Wasn't that the case?
Yeah, that's right. Once he learned to swing, he just likes to swing. So now the swinging is a reinforcing behavior by itself, and he doesn't need any more tags and treats for that.
Right, right. And that's really the purpose of teaching the child, is eventually the behavior you're teaching becomes reinforcing to the child of itself. And swinging is a great example of that. Okay, next question.
the next question, do you see it there? I put it up.
Someone asked about setting up a WOOF plan to address a behavior. Yes, one gentleman asked about setting up a WOOF plan to address a behavior, and he was concerned about a self-injurious behavior. And for people on this Q&A who may not know our WOOF acronym, in TAGteach, we always talk about the tag point. What is the exact action of the child that you are going to reinforce? And we try to make the tag point very specific. Thank you. The tag point is the behavior that gets a tag. And we want that tag point to be very specific. And we have 4 criteria. And the 4 criteria are what you want, one thing, observable, and it must be described in 5 words or less. So there's a little acronym called WOOF that we use to talk about the criteria. And again, the purpose of that is to boil it down to a very specific action so that there's only one thing the child has to do. And definitely a tag point is one part of a series of things you will probably teach a child to enable the child to learn a new behavior. So we have a great example here. For example, if there are behaviors you would like to see more of, if you would like the child to look more in your direction or point at objects or sit on a cushion, the examples are, the tag point is, turn head towards me, and you can see that meets the criteria for the tag point. And the same thing, and the tag point is points, and the tag point is walk, smear, cushion. And all of those are very discrete, specific behaviors that a child can do and that you would reinforce him or her for doing. And when you are thinking of building a behavior, for example, kicking a ball, there's a lot of actions involved in kicking a ball. So you would break that skill down and then set tag points for each step in it. So that's all part of a WOOF plan, which I thought was a great idea for the gentleman who asked that question. Are there any questions about that?
Yeah, so we have this WOOF planning sheet. This is one that's filled out. So we're going to send that out as a free download for everybody so that they could help them plan out their tag points and keep track of their trials.
Right.
So we'll send that out to everybody after the meeting. The next question was, what TAGteach resources are available to help people, like the lady in St. Lucia whose friend wants to start a school for kids with autism?
Right. Well, the great thing is we have a lot of resources available on the Autism Chaos to Calm website. We have excellent resource pages that describe TAGteach in detail, and then there are numerous articles on the blog that describe how specifically to apply TAGteach to common everyday problems. Common problem is children bolting instead of walking safely with the family, or children being too boisterous in the car. And of course we want our kids to be fairly still and fairly quiet in the car because an adult has to drive in traffic, so the adult has to be able to focus on the traffic. So there's many, many articles on the blog. These are all free. We also have a free ebook on behavior basics. That's available for everybody for free. And we have some very useful downloads. We have a free download of a child observation chart, and we have a free download of a sleep chart if you're working on sleep with a child. These are all really useful tools. In addition to that, there is access to a closed TAGteach group on Facebook. We have a TAGteach for Learning, Communication, and Behavior Facebook group. It's closed, and that is also free to whoever wants to apply to join it. And that's another great resource for people to post questions and get answers from other people who are in the same situation. And really the goal of TAGteach is to bring the benefits of science into your living room. And TAGteach is a great way to achieve that, and the information about it, how to do it in detail with examples, is all free on the website. We're very proud of that. So if you need resources, you will find plenty there, and if you have a specific question, you can ask on the TAGteach Facebook group. So are there any more questions?
Okay. Yeah, the next one, and this is another one that we get frequently. We get two questions frequently. Firstly, does TAGteach work on nonverbal, seriously affected kids? And then we get people who also ask, does TAGteach work with high-functioning kids, like kids with Asperger's? So maybe you could address those in two separate questions.
Parts, yes.
I have a video for this one too.
Okay. Do you have a video for the lower or higher functioning child?
Both.
Both. Okay. Okay. Well, let me talk about does TAGteach work for the lower functioning child, and I can speak to that because my son is definitely on that end of the spectrum. He is considered to be severe. He is nonverbal. He has a few words now, but he's truly nonverbal. And TAGteach works beautifully for him because it eliminates the need for language in teaching him. And then the tag, when I tag a behavior, he knows what it means. He knows that he did something right. He knows he's going to get a reward, and he knows he should do that behavior again. And he looks forward to the tags because they help him out if he needs to be learn something in an emergency situation. He hurt his foot recently and had to go to the doctor, and we had to put him on crutches, and he'd never used crutches. So with one or two tag points, within 5 steps, he understood how to use the crutches to get out of the house and into the car and to the doctor. So yes, TAGteach is great for nonverbal children because they learn to focus on that sound, they learn to pay attention to a sound, and from there they learn to pay attention to more things. So it's perfect for that population. And then for the higher functioning populations, it's perfect for that group too because, again, the tag isolates that one action that the student should be focusing on. And so the student or the child has the luxury of just dealing with one thing at a time. And the child has the opportunity to focus on that and do the action and then has the opportunity to do that again. It's very successful. It reduces stress for those kids because they don't have too much thrown at them. And it just reduces everything to one step at a time. And once they achieve that skill, they can move on to the next. So, Joan, if you want to show those videos, that would be great.
Yeah, okay. Well, we saw a video of Lear previously, the swinging one, so that would be a high-functioning child. If you turn your sound up, I don't know if you could hear it, but at one point he actually said, "What's the tag point? What's the next tag point?" So he's definitely with the program. This one here this is actually your son.
Yes, that's a really nice video because as you can see, Douglas is quite a big, tall fellow, and he's bigger and stronger than Anne, and yet she can give him instructions, and he follows them, and he's happy and safe, and Anne doesn't have to manhandle him, which she wouldn't be able to do, but she can manage his behaviors and keep him safe out in a public street where he's never been before.
Another video. This one is actually testimonials from 2 people on the spectrum and telling what they think about working with being taught with TAGteach.
But how did you like the tag using the clicker? Did you think that helped you learn?
Yeah, I think we should do that more often. It's a better way of saying that you did it right instead of actually saying you did it wrong.
Hi, my name is Katie, Katie Scott Dyer. I am a primary certificate tag teacher, and I'm also a parent to 2 grown-up children, and I'm a dog trainer, but I'm also on the autism spectrum. I have Asperger's syndrome, so I have high and low functioning attributes, both of which have actually helped me integrate into neurotypical society. You know, I have discovered TAGteach, and which if it had been around when I was a child, I'm 100% certain that my childhood would have been less frustrating and less anxiety ridden, and that I would be much more successful than I am today. It gives the learner direct, immediate feedback, so you know what you got right and when. It simplifies the instructions and allows the learner to focus, but without pressure. So the applications for education are just limitless. And if you have any doubts whatsoever about the validity of TAGteach, just try it and see, and you'll see just how amazing the learning and how simplified the learning is.
We have another question. This is about the course, the new online course that we've just announced. It's TAGteach for Autism. It's really for parents, but it's also would be great for professionals, anyone working with kids with autism or special needs, kids with learning disabilities. And the question was, what if I can't afford the course?
Yes, there are going to be some scholarships available for those families who would like to take the course but simply can't manage it financially. So I would like to ask those families who need a scholarship to contact me. You can contact me through the AutismChaos.com blog, and then describe your situation, and we can see what we can do to help these families.
Then we had another question. This is from a lady from Bangladesh that signed up for the call today, and she says that her 5-year-old doesn't talk, and he walks around restlessly and continuously, and sometimes he destroys things, and tears books apart. So she's wondering if there would be a TAGteach solution for those kinds of problems.
Yeah, thanks, Joan. Yes, this was a very kind email from this mother in Bangladesh, and yes, TAGteach is very good for addressing those kinds of problems. My recommendation would be, of course, first to observe the child, take some notes, and then set up a plan to address these issues. Let's take them one at a time. The little boy doesn't speak much. Well, what you can do with TAGteach is you can determine which of his vocalizations might be close to a word or a sound in the language he speaks. And then every time he makes that specific vocalization, tag and give him a reinforcer. He will make that vocalization more often. You want to encourage him to vocalize. So, and really almost any good vocalization that he makes, other than, of course, a scream, we don't want to encourage screaming, but if it's a vocalization in a conversational tone of voice, I would say reinforce every one, and then over time he will start to experiment with other vocalizations, and then I would recommend picking the vocalizations that are most applicable to words in the language, and then build slowly from there. This way the child is encouraged for vocalizing, and eventually you can shape the vocalizations closer and closer to words, and he will enjoy it. He will not feel stressed because he's being reinforced when he chooses to make a vocalization. And he'll also learn that vocalizations are a good thing to do. So yes, we can definitely increase vocalizations with TAGteach. Now the second question was what to do about a lot of restless pacing. And this, again, is a common behavior. And there are several approaches. We always say when there's a behavior that's non-productive in the child, think about what you want the child to do instead. And I think, I don't know what this mom would rather have instead, but I think having the child walk safely so that you can take the child outside would be a good goal. So safe walking would be a good goal. And also in the house, having the child learn how to play with some toys or do some activities. So again, if the child is pacing in the house, there could be a toy or an activity on a table near his route where he paces, and every time he walks past that activity, tag him, and eventually he will stop at the table and he may touch the toy, in which case you tag him. But I think the goal there would be to set up some activities, tag him when he's close to them, and then tag him as he looks at them, tag him as he touches them, so that you expand his range of things that he can do in the house, because our kids don't play naturally, they don't know how to amuse themselves, and they tend to pace. So you have to teach safe walking so you can take them outside so the child can walk with the family and get exercise that way, and then in the house encourage other activities. And this takes some time initially, and the child then learns to spend time at the table looking at the activity, and eventually you can add more activities, and eventually the activities will become engaging for a longer period of time. So those are all issues that can readily be addressed via TAGteach. And Joan put up a slide here about how to increase the focus of a child. If a child has problems doing something, of course, reduce the criteria, make it easier. You increase the rate of reinforcement to get a child to do something more often, and you can use a stronger reinforcer. These are all tactics to help a child learn to perform a desired behavior.
And then we have one, I think this is the last question. And this is another question that we get fairly frequently, and that is, what if TAGteach doesn't work for my child?
Yes, that's a common question, and I have to say I've never heard of TAGteach not working for the child. All children, all humans, we love reinforcement. We love to have success, and that's what you deliver to a child with the tag. You deliver the message, yes, you did something right, yes, that was good, and now you're getting a reward. So I think if somebody feels that TAGteach doesn't work, I think it may be because there was a misunderstanding about what to do. Maybe the instructor was setting something for the child to do that was too difficult, in which case you would go back and look at your tag point and break it down further. The tag point must be something that the child can actually do. So you wouldn't make something so complicated that the child can't do it. So the tag point must be something the child can do, and then the reinforcer must be something the child likes, and the instructor or whoever is doing the teaching should be consistent in practicing this skill several times a day for some weeks to get the skill built up. I know personally there have been times when my son has not learned something, and it's because I failed. I didn't get the right reinforcers. I wasn't consistent. I didn't carry through. It wasn't anything to do with TAGteach. That was my problem. And you have a different idea towards your child when you realize my child is doing something I don't like, but I didn't teach him what I want him to do. So I can't be mad at my child. I have to be mad at myself. So we have never heard of a well-done TAGteach program failing to teach a child. It's a scientific approach. This is how all human beings react, all living things react. We like to receive reinforcement. We will do those things again. So it will work for any child, provided it's properly done and properly maintained.
Teresa, do you have anything else to add to that answer?
No, sounds wonderful.